Well, today we're going to talk about temporal lobe epilepsy. It's something I've had since I was born, although I didn't know I had it until I was about 45 years old. And that's a long time to not know you have something like that. I think YouTube only allots about 15 minutes when you first start doing videos, so this might be a two-part thing. But temporal lobe epilepsy is not a usual kind of epilepsy. As a matter of fact, most doctors and psychiatrists don't even think about it. It's not the kind that generally gives you all-out seizures. It can, but usually not. It has some odd manifestations, such as out-of-body experiences, deja-vu, jamais-vu, and we're talking an intense variety, not the kind that most people get. Hyper-spirituality, sometimes they call it the God disease, because people have a very strong tendency to need to believe in a God or some type of religion. And it can also manifest with hypergraphia, which is compulsive writing, where, if one person would normally write a paragraph, you have to write 15, that type of thing. And it has other things like what I call time bubbles. You might be more prone to sleep paralysis, night terrors. There are all kinds of things that can go along with it. And usually it manifests just in little spurts. Like, you'll have an incident of something here, an incident of something there. But in some cases, you will go through whole time periods where it's almost constant. And if they don't catch it, which they almost never do, generally they send you to a psychiatrist who will determine, okay, well, she's not schizophrenic, she's not this, she's not that, and they don't know how to place you. They usually throw a variety of diagnoses at you. But you never quite get a good answer. So then you take it back to spirituality. All of these things are happening to me because it's a spiritual phenomena. It's something that, God wants me to experience. I have a gift. Things of this nature. And a lot of times the things that go on with you are shunned in basic religion like Christianity and whatnot. You can only find references to them in New Age religions or, occult religions, things of that nature, and a lot of people end up over there. So it's a disease that it can affect the course of your life. It can definitely affect the course of your life. I was going to say too, it can also cause hallucinations, but they're hallucinations of generally all five senses. And usually they're the same type of hallucinations. You might have 2 or 3 different types per sense, like taste, smell, visual, things like that. And you'll get a feeling before they happen, like generally you'll take it as a spiritual sign because you don't know you have epilepsy. So you'll get a feeling that something is different with the universe or whatnot. And it's a really, really odd disease. when I was a kid, there are other symptoms that go along with it. And one of them I'll say quickly here because it's going to be a little graphic, and if men are watching this, men aren't going to want to listen to it. So I'll try to make it as ungraphic as I possibly can. But in women who have temporal lobe epilepsy, they can experience very difficult woman problems. Extremely strong menstrual cycles, some that have no end. You might end up being put on hormones. You might end up having one D&C after another. And they don't know what the relationship is. At least last I read, they didn't. So, for some reason, that is one of the things that goes on with women. Another manifestation that can happen to all people is hand flapping, like this. Okay, and generally it's in both hands, but I'm holding up my iPad. So, in my particular case, the hand flapping started when I was about 4 or 5. And a very specific thing caused it, which was anticipation. So anytime I anticipated anything or had to wait for something, which is part of anticipation, and it doesn't matter whether it's good anticipation or bad anticipation, the hands would start flapping like this. And of course, my mother would say, quit it, you look retarded. Stop doing that. And, I couldn't stop doing it. It's part of the epilepsy, but we didn't know I had epilepsy. And eventually I reined it down. I don't know, when I was in my preteens, I had reined it down to having my arms straight at my side and just twisting my fist back and forth. And then after that, I taught myself to snap, but I do it with my hands straight down at my side, so it didn't look as conspicuous. And, my friends would say, quit doing that, that's annoying. But it's a lot less annoying than the hand flapping. It took years to teach myself to rein it into that. And, now I'm 52, and I have fewer incidences of it. I do it less if I smoke, and I don't know why, but that just seems to be the case. And if I keep my hands busy with something, it's the best, but it will still happen. And I do my best to hide it and look normal. It's all you can do. So I had I had night terrors as a child, very prone to those. And that was really some hell to live through as a child, because with night terrors you see things while you're awake, and it's terrifying. It's horrible. It can be super scary. And let's see, then I think the out-of-body experiences started when I was about 11 or 12. I'm originally from Cadillac, Michigan, and Kiss was playing at our high school. It's was a really odd event, but I'm sure you can find information on that. It's an historic event. But my mother wouldn't let me go, and I got very, very upset. My friends were going, and everyone I knew was going, and she wouldn't let me go. So I am majorly upset. I went back in my bedroom, threw myself down on the bed, and the next thing I knew, I was on the ceiling. And I was really scared. I had no idea what was going on, and I kind of floated, just back down, and I tried to get up, and I was right back on the ceiling. And I didn't know what to do, and I floated back down, and this time I tried to scream for my mother, but nothing would come out, sound wise. And I tried to get up again, and once again I floated up to the ceiling, and I floated back down, and then I was back in my body. And that was the first time it happened. I didn't have another experience for several years. But then it got pretty intense, and I might do that in a different video. I don't think I have enough time to explain most of the rest of this here, but when I was about 15 years old, I started going through periods of intense jamais-vu and deja-vu. And jamais-vu is where nothing seems familiar. And only it's really all-encompassing. Like, okay, some things will seem familiar, some things will seem right, but most things won't. And with deja vu, it's the feeling that you've been in the exact place before doing the exact same thing, except in somebody with epilepsy, it's so intense, I can't even describe it. It's like a wave that washes over you, and you're almost simultaneously two places at the same time, and they're both the same place. It's really weird. And then after the wave of deja vu, I would have these horrible, just migraine headaches, just headaches like I have never experienced ever in my whole life since. And they were just blinding. And those, I went through those episodes for about 3 months. It was just almost all the time, but I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to start a new video so I can tell you more in depth about this, because I think they're going to stop me at 15 minutes. So I shall return. And sorry about the bad lighting in this house. Just, I don't know, it doesn't have very good lighting. But I will talk to you shortly.